SeatGeek is the easiest way to find the best deals on tickets to pretty much any live event. Concerts, sports, theater, comedy, whatever you want. Download the SeatGeek app today and enter promo code SEATS to save $20 on your first purchase.
Welcome back to the Sports Beat KC podcast. This is Jesse Newell, KU beat reporter for the Kansas City Star. I'm joined once again this week by CJ Moore. CJ, how's your week going?
Jesse, did you miss me?
A little bit, but the worst part was seeing you do other podcasts online about college hoops and KU basketball. We've talked about this. You shouldn't be cheating on me online.
It was just one, and it was just a couple days ago. I mean, yeah, it feels a little dirty, but it's good to be back. I sure missed you. I apologize to you and the listeners. I've been a little missing in action lately, but they'll see it sometime soon why.
Yeah, I think people will understand why very soon, and it'll be kind of an exciting thing for both you and KU fans when all that is released, but not quite yet. So we will move on and move forward. It was interesting listening to your conversation on the Big 12 and on KU. A lot of these topics, it seems like we've kind of gone over and over again on the podcast, but it seems like a national story now. It's Svi Mikhailuk last week, we talked to him here up at KU, and he officially talked about him losing 20 pounds, and it seems like a lot of national media members are kind of shocked, like, oh my gosh, he was going to play the 4 position for KU, he's going to be the small ball 4, and it feels like we've talked over and over and over again about how Svi Mikhailuk is not a 4, like he's tall, but he's not a 4 because he's not the athletic guy you want in there. So it's kind of interesting how these conversations keep popping up. I feel like we've almost over-talked about them, but I guess it's still going to be kind of a national deal as everybody catches up to what's going to happen with this KU roster.
Yeah, it was, like you said, I talked to Sam the other day, and he was like, well, that doesn't make much sense if he's going to play 4. I was like, no, that's LaGerald Vick's role. I think me and you've talked about that. I think the small ball 4, which I think they're going to go that route a lot again, is going to be LaGerald Vick, and it's not as smooth a fit as it was for Josh Jackson, but I think it's a good thing that Svi's lost weight. I think he got maybe a little heavy last year. I mean, if you look at kind of his numbers from the NBA combine, as far as body fat percentage and stuff, he was not in a good area in terms of how he ranked for that stuff. So the fact that he lost weight and, hopefully will make him a little quicker. And I think you maybe saw a little bit of it in Spain, didn't you, Jesse? Didn't you feel like he was a step or two quicker? I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't see it in Spain. I saw it in Italy.
Spain.
Yes.
Spain would have been good too.
You have been away for a while, haven't you? Yeah. No,
Spain, Italy. I'm not very cultured, Jesse. I don't know these places.
Yeah, if you confuse Spain and Italy, you really aren't very cultured, CJ. No, absolutely. I mean, he looked quicker. He was better off the bounce. I've talked a lot about how sometimes in very small samples he's been pretty good in pick and roll situations, and it seems like he's been able to feed guys on the drive if he comes around to pick and roll. But he showed better an ability to kind of do what Devontae Graham can do, where you can drive a little bit, get a step behind a guy or a step past a guy, and then feed somebody out on the perimeter. And we've talked about this a lot too, CJ. This is a team that's going to have a lot of outside shooters and a lot of spot-up shooters that need basically to be created for. And so if you have those 4 guys on the court together, which Bill Self was in love with by the end of that Italy trip, Devontae Graham, Malik Newman, Svi Mikhailuk, LaGerald Vick, and all those guys kind of have that same skill set where they can drive, kick, and then all hit open threes. That's a very dangerous offensive lineup. And as you said earlier, then you kind of figure it out on the defensive end. You figure out, okay, LaGerald Vick, it might not be the perfect matchup, but he's athletic enough to make up for it, and if he can avoid fouls, you just kind of survive there. Where you really thrive is the offensive end, where this team could once again be very dangerous, scoring on the outside and making 3-pointers, as we saw a year ago with these guys making their threes.
Yeah, next topic.
Next topic. Well, we're gonna do a mailbag.
We're
gonna do a mailbag edition here, CJ. A lot of questions on Twitter came through, and we are basically gonna follow what Michael F. Marshall's advice was on here, which he said, only basketball, ... no football, ... please, all caps. So we basically will follow that.
I haven't caught a minute of KU football, but I know it's depressing.
Yeah, and again, we're recording this on Friday, so if you're listening to this Saturday afternoon and KU has pulled off a a miracle victory over West Virginia after being a 21.5-point favorite, then maybe these words sound kind of weird. But as the time we're talking, KU a 1-2 start, and not the way that the football season wanted to go. And I know a lot of people are excited about basketball season coming up with late night in the fog. Just a week from Saturday, as we're talking right now, 8 days away, and the official start of basketball season coming. So let's start this, and let's get to some of these questions on here. Let's start with this one from Dan Fagan. He said, how do you see the backcourt bench shaking out? Who will have the biggest impact outside of the top four, a.k.a. Cunliffe and Garrett? So we just talked about the four guards, and the four guards that will be in there primarily, which is Malik Newman, Devontae Graham, Svi Mikhailuk, and LeGerald Vick. How do you see it shaking out outside of that, CJ?
A couple of weeks ago, I was at Self's Hall of Fame thing, and so got a chance to talk to some people around that who obviously have some insight on what's going on in the program. And Sam's name didn't come up a lot, but Marcus Garrett did, and it sounds like they are really excited about Garrett. And he's been a guy that I've just kind of had a feeling about all summer that that's going to be a kid that's better than people anticipate. And I think with his height and kind of position versatility, I think, and also the fact that he can play right away. I mean, Sam's got to sit out. We've seen what that can do, having to sit out, the first handful of games for like a Check Diallo, guys like that. It's not easy. Sam does have the benefit of having been around last year, so that helps him. But I just think it's Marcus Garrett that's really, really going to find a role on this team and find a lot of find minutes for him just because of all the things he can do. Apparently, defensively, he's really, really strong. Somebody said that he's just pressures up and takes the ball from the guards a lot. So he's a kid that I see having a big role in this team.
Yeah, and an interesting fit on this team. 6'5", that's very tall for what has been a point guard. Bill Self hasn't had many point guards that tall, but really if you look at the minutes and where KU could use backups the most, the one position, kind of a non-ball guard, which Marcus Garrett should be able to do maybe better than some of the other guys on the roster, and then the four position, the small ball four that we're talking about with LeGerald Vick. I mean, if Svi Mikhailuk, as we've talked about, is not a perfect fit for that position, Marcus Garrett really sort of is. He kind of has that same sort of LeGerald Vick athleticism, and with the height that he has at 6'5", you could see him playing very different roles for KU depending on the circumstance and the situation where the Jayhawks need him.
Yeah, it'll come down to, I don't know what his strength's like. I mean, he's a $180, but you look at Vic and he's listed at 175. So yeah. that is really low weight for a guy that you wanted to go do that. But I think that he'll play a lot of different spots, and he's going to factor in. And there's going to be minutes there for Sam too, but I just think Garrett, to me, is the guy that maybe is that first guard off the bench.
Yeah, Sam tried to guard the four a little bit over in Italy as well, and he was a little bit like Svi. Just it doesn't seem comfortable for him yet. Fouled a lot, and I don't blame him. It's something that these guys are being asked to do because of the roster crunch that KU has. It leads us perfectly to this question from Bleak Gilliam online on Twitter, and he says, "Is this team the most thin roster ever in the Bill Self era?" So, what say you, CJ?
Giving it a quick look at the past rosters, I'm going to say the 2012 team is probably the thinnest Self has ever had. You had
that was the first
really
one that
good starting lineup.
Yeah, that was the first one that came to my mind.
You had a really good starting lineup, but you had Connor Tehan as basically the sixth man. Nadir Tharp played some minutes, but not a ton. And then Kevin Young and Justin Wesley, Justin Wesley was essentially another walk-on. So you really, that team was 7 deep. I mean, really, it was Tehan and Young were the other guys that got minutes on that team. So you look at this group, and I think that Lightfoot's going to have a role. Obviously, Marcus Garrett is a guy that we think is going to have a role. So there's two more. There's Sam. There is who else am I missing here? There's a ninth guy. Oh, Billy Preston, obviously. Mm-hmm. So that's 9 deep, and I think those guys will all play roles. So 9 deep, that's not really a bad thing. Like you usually want to settle into about 8 guys. I just think they're thin in one really obvious area, and that's in the post. But you look at the roster, and there's 9 playable guys, and you want to get to, usually you want to have like 8 a rotation of about 8. I think that's what Self usually settles on, about 7 or 8. So the fact that they have 9 playable players, I don't think they're really that thin. They're just thin in one area.
Yeah, and I've got something for you here, CJ, to talk about the 2012 team, which, again, maybe this is a positive sign for KU basketball because that team made the national championship game. That was a pretty darn good year for Kansas, rallied in the NCAA tournament and kind of grinded out those victories. But Justin Wesley, you talked about him kind of coming in for Kansas. In 2010, he played 18% of the minutes for Lamar. In 2012, he played 21% of the minutes for Kansas. So I'm going to go with you and say that the 2012 team had the least amount of depth when you look at it from that, just based on that fact alone. And even then, the next year for KU, Justin Wesley really didn't play that much and really was limited to mostly walk-on duty the next 2 years. But the fact that he was playing so much in that season, or at least a viable bench option that season, kind of tells you where KU was at from a depth perspective. I've kind of been on this with this team. Where I'm at is basically that this team has the same high ceiling that any Bill Self team has. I just think it has a lower floor. You talk about one injury to maybe a Udoka Azubuike, or one suspension, or
for sure
one guy that has a nagging thing that you're not sure he's going to play on a game-to-game basis. That knocks you immediately down to 8 scholarship players in the second semester and or 7 in the first semester. And 1 or 2 of those can really hamper you in a hurry. And again, I think they like a lot their top 7 players. But when you look at Mitch Lightfoot and Sam Cunliffe, a little bit unknown. And if you have to force those guys into duty, there just aren't other options left on the roster. And Bill Self is so used to throwing in. I mean, remember, Hunter Mickelson was like, a luxury. Like, hey, you could start him or you could put him at the end of the bench. It didn't really matter. Or there were times where Cole Aldrich was the 5th big man in KU's rotation. I mean, gone are those days for this season. KU and Bill Self, it's a razor-thin margin for error right now that if 1 or 2 things go bad, this team becomes very thin and in a very big hurry.
For sure, and to use it in a historical context, to go back to that 2012 team, you talk to some of those guys and they'll tell you everyone knew their role and played to that role. Like nobody tried to do something that they weren't capable of because, hey, here's the 7 we got. We all know we're going to play. We all know what our role is going to be. And you go back to the team, maybe a couple of years earlier, like 2010. Wow, that team had a really super, super successful season, was really, really good. I think there were some chemistry issues, and they almost had too many guys. Like, they had too many players. That was the year, Sharon's last year, and they had Cole, Sharon. Their front court had T-Rob. Jeff Withey is an NBA player, and he didn't even, play that year. So I think there's such things sometimes as having too many guys. So I think this is just about the right mix if you had one more post player.
And it's fascinating, too. I was kind of looking at these numbers on KenPom really quickly, and actually last year KU used its bench less than the 2012 season. But, again, the difference there is this. If one thing went bad for KU, you still have a Carlton Bragg to put in. You know what I mean? You still have a Dwight Colby to put in. You have a major college player or a McDonald's All-American. Those guys just weren't getting playing time because of Bill's self-coaching decisions and basically leaving the guys in there that were obviously successful, that led KU to a 31-5 season. But there were other options. There was a body on the bench that you trusted. Right now, I mean, I don't know who that guy is. That might be kind of the emergency break glass in case of emergency type of guy. And he might be on the football team right now. I mean, I'm honest. KU might pull a football player this year. This might be the year that KU men's basketball has to do something like that. So it'll be fascinating to watch. But KU is fine as currently constructed. It's just very close to being in more of a emergency type situation. Definitely not there yet, and still with a very high ceiling for KU moving forward. Let's get to another question here. Let me pull it up. That kind of leads me to this one because we mentioned him on here, the Billy Preston part. Scrolling. Yep, CJ Krug says, Billy seems to be the key to the season with thin front court roster, which is what you just mentioned, CJ. Will Self be forced to play him through mistakes? So let's discuss Billy Preston.
I don't know if he's the key to the season, but I do think he's important just because of the depth issue. You need him probably to play that backup 5 spot just because Mitch Lightfoot, that's a really, really tough thing to maybe put 4 guards out there with Mitch Lightfoot. So with Preston's size and his body, he makes more sense to where he can play that backup 5. Obviously he's going to be either maybe at some point the starting 4 or the backup 4. So yeah, you need him for minutes. But in terms of calling him like the key guy, maybe for KU ceiling, he's a really, really key guy. But in terms of just being a key player to their success, I don't know that I necessarily see it that way, because I can see a scenario where he's just okay and they're really, really good still.
Yeah, for sure. And again, his role kind of changes with the depth that is there, and maybe, like you said, having to play the 5 position. But this will be the battle all year. We know this will be the battle all year. Billy Preston, kind of like Carlton Bragg, likes to float to the perimeter, likes to get to the outside, likes to shoot over the top of people. Bill Self wants him to be an inside player. He wants him to play above the rim. He wants him to grab rebounds. He wants him to put his shoulder down and clear some space and put in a short turnaround jumper in the lane. He wants him to be a big man. Billy Preston still believes that he's a perimeter player. So that's going to be a battle that's fought all throughout this year. It was a battle that was fought in Italy. And when Billy Preston did decide to go inside, he was pretty successful during one of those games. But when he kind of tried to float to the perimeter, shoot fadeaways, he drew Bill Self's ire. So that's going to be something over and over and over again, along with getting him to play hard. That is up to KU standard, getting him to hustle all the time, all those sorts of things. That's going to be something that will be continually something to look at throughout the course of the season, because Billy Preston, that's why he's a work in progress, is because the coaches are still working with him to try to get them in the mold and the vision that they see for him this season.
Yeah, Bragg's a good comp, but the difference is Bragg didn't have the body. Preston's got the body. So he looks the part. He's just got to get it right upstairs. So I think he goes in with a little bit of an advantage there, because Bragg never quite had the physical attributes to really thrive in that spot.
Yeah, and he tried. I mean, remember we all had the stories about, okay, he added 25 pounds in the offseason, he weighed as much as Landon Lucas, all those sorts of things. But again, just never really came together for Carlton Bragg at Kansas for whatever reason. But this is kind of a similar type of player, and Bill Self is going to hammer it to him over and over that you are an inside player. You're a guy that needs to power your way in the post. You need to be the team's best rebounder when you're in, all those sorts of things. And it's just going to be different. It's going to be a different way of coaching, I think, than Billy Preston has ever experienced in his life. From Bobby Norrell on here, outside of the Kentucky game, ranked the best non-conference games for KU this season. So, CJ, I just pulled it up. I will give you a quick rundown to let you know your choices of the non-conference games for KU. Here you go. Home against Tennessee State, home against South Dakota State, home against Texas Southern, home against Oakland, home against Toledo, Syracuse in the Hoop Hall Miami Invitational, versus Washington and Kansas City, versus Arizona State in Lawrence, at Nebraska, versus Omaha at home, versus Stanford in Sacramento, and then the final game is the Texas A&M game in the Big 12 SEC Challenge in Lawrence. So what say you about the top non-conference games outside of Kentucky?
All right, well, let's kind of separate these between mid-majors and major conference teams. So in terms of mid-majors that they're playing, the couple that you maybe you'll be more like, if you're trying to decide, okay, what game do I go to Lawrence where it's a viable ticket, but I want to see like a decent game.
You don't want to see 110 to 50.
Yeah. The 3 teams that stick out right away to me are Oakland. Always has a pretty good program.
Agree.
Greg Camp does a good job there. He's had some pros. And then Texas Southern, Mike Davis, get some players down there. And then the third is Omaha. Omaha was actually pretty good last year. I think they graduated some guys, but that program's on the up and up. So those are 3 that might be decent. But other than that, so now we go to the big conference schools. So, obviously Kentucky's number 1, but they said take Kentucky out.
Take them out.
So, Syracuse is probably next on the list. I think a lot of KU fans have a disdain for Syracuse, so they won't mind beating the Qs, or at least hope they beat the Qs. And then Washington, Arizona State. Nebraska, man. Oh, Stanford might be the next team up there.
I agree.
Everybody saw last year how good the big kid is from Stanford, and he's Travis.
Reed Travis.
Reed Travis. Yeah, Reed Travis is a really really good player. So Stanford's probably that next team. And then, flip a coin between the next year. I think Nebraska's got some pieces this season, but we'll see if they can put together. Maybe you put Nebraska next just because it's in Lincoln.
Yep.
And you talk to people around college basketball and they say Nebraska's like a sleeping giant because of that, the facilities that they have. And I'd like to get up there for that game. That's an arena where I really like to see it because I hear when it's hopping, it's a pretty fun place to be. So maybe I'd put Nebraska next, and then I'll say Arizona State, Washington.
I think that's almost exactly my list, and for all the reasons you mentioned, there's going to be some buzz about Syracuse. There's going to be some buzz about Stanford, and that's kind of that dreaded right before Christmas game that Bill Self always takes so that the guys can fly home right afterwards. And KU's had success in those games, and then also lost a few of those games. I remember one in particular. Temple got a pretty big drubbing right before Christmas, and I remember writing that story, and fans not being happy at that point. I think then you look at A&M. That game is kind of a dud. I mean, with the Big 12 SEC Challenge, what it could be and what it has been for KU in the past, especially a home game, KU should take care of that. But I think you had.
Oh wait, I didn't even realize. I'm looking at the early part of the schedule, and I forgot to hop down to that SEC Challenge. I disagree with you on A&M being a dud.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a top 25 team. I would
really
put them in season top 25. They've got a really really good roster. I think I saw on Twitter somebody the other day, an SEC. I can't remember who tweeted it out or who it was, but they said an SEC coach told them they thought Texas A&M would be the best team in the SEC.
Really?
Yes, I like it. I thought A&M really underachieved last year. Tyler Davis is really, really good. DJ Hogue's good player. They returned Robert Williams, who could have been a lottery pick. They've got talent. They just didn't have guards last year, but they've got some talent.
So where are you slotting that game? It's an Allen Fieldhouse game, so you got to figure KU's gonna be favored pretty easily.
I would maybe put that above Syracuse.
Wow,
That's
a shocker.
Yeah, it's maybe 1A and 1B. I mean, the fact that it's at the field house, maybe Syracuse goes up there a little bit, but no, A&M's got some legit talent. Like Tyler Davis is a legit talent, and Robert Williams is a NBA draft, potential lottery pick. Davis is a better college player, but Williams is a really good prospect. So they've got players. That's going to be a fun game. I just overlooked it because I didn't scroll down the schedule far enough.
Wow, well that's amazing. I was not expecting to hear that, but I kind of thought A&M. And for me, I guess it's just kind of the Billy Kennedy syndrome. I just haven't. I know he took them to a 3 seed a couple years back, but it seems like they've kind of underachieved a little bit with the talent and kind of the expectations that have been down there. So we'll see what happens with Texas A&M, but that's interesting to hear you say that and to hear kind of the preseason buzz around them. That's something I really hadn't heard too much of coming into the season. Maybe that could be a good game in Allen Fieldhouse. I know when the Big 12 SEC schedule came out, there was a little bit of a disappointment just because KU couldn't play Kentucky this year, and then the KU-Missouri game is not going to happen, not under Bill Self's watch, so that kind of left A&M as the final team remaining, or one of the only teams remaining, so that was kind of what happened with that. We're going to go to a couple more of these Twitter questions before we get out of here. From Jeffrey on here, he says, rank the top 5 KU teams of the Williams and Self era. Also, the best cheeseburger in Kansas City. So, CJ, I'll let you tackle either one of those first that you want to. You're probably better at the KC stuff than I am just because that is your neck of the woods up there.
So he wants top 5 teams combine out of those areas, or top 5 of each?
Let's do that. Let's talk it through. The top 5 teams of the Williams and Self era right now. Let's rank them. Let's talk it through. What is the number 1 team to you?
So it's the top 3 are probably 08, 97, and 02. And I have a hard time ranking those 3. Let's go ahead and put 08 because they won the championship.
I think you have to put 08, and in addition to that, again, from all the measures we can gather, like from Ken Pomeroy's rankings, efficiency numbers, that team was elite. I mean, that team wasn't a UConn that lucked into it, late in the season and made a nice postseason run. That was an elite team. So I feel comfortable putting 08 above anybody else. But
and I'll go ahead.
No, I was going to
say, but what?
But to me, right behind would be 97. But go ahead.
I actually might lean, and maybe it's just because I loved watching them play so much. The 02 team is the most entertaining team KU's probably ever had. So I'd maybe put 02 ahead of 97.
No.
But you can go back and forth and back and forth. I mean, I'll go ahead and I'll give you 02 or 97 as the number 2 team. But 97 I would be willing to put 02 number 2.
97 is closer to 08 than 02 is close to 97. That makes sense. It goes 08, 97 gap 02. I think you can make an argument for 97 being number 1.
You had listen here, Jesse. You had Collison and Gooden in the front court. Okay, I'll take that front court and Wayne Simeon off the bench. I'll take that front court over Pollard, LaFrentz. Fair.
Okay.
LaFrentz was freaking awesome, but I'll take him.
I was gonna say, like, you're talking about peak Rafe LaFrentz. Okay.
You're talking about peak Drew Gooden and pretty much peak Nick Collison. So I take that front court.
Not quite peak Nick Collison. I mean,
close.
I think that came
He's a junior.
2003.
Close.
Okay. All right. Keep
close.
going.
If Gooden's not around that year, he probably is more like senior year Nick Collison. So, yes, close to peak Nick Collison. And then at the 3 spot, it's obviously 97 is a clear favorite because you had Paul Pierce. I realize that's the big advantage for 97. But in the backcourt,
and you're Mr. Wingman too. You we did our draft and you took 8 wings on your team. The importance of a wing. I just got a Hall of Famer on my wing team. Who's yours?
Yeah. Okay. Listen.
All right.
And then in terms of backcourt, the 1 and 2 spots, I'm taking 02. I like just that as a combination. I like Miles Heinrich better than I like Von Haas.
Blasphemy.
Why?
Because 97 went 34-1 with its only loss before the final game in double overtime on the road to Missouri. Look, we can argue if you want, okay, this player better than that player, this player not better than that player, all that sort of stuff, but that team went 34-1 and was amazing playing together and knew which guys needed to get the ball in the right spot.
The other one made the Final Four.
CJ, you're not going to hold a loss to Arizona in the Sweet 16 against the 97 team.
The other team also lost to the eventual champion. 02 lost to the eventual champion.
You're wrong. It's okay. You're wrong. Listen.
I think it's a debate worth having. I don't think it's clear cut. Also, Keith Langford as a freshman, he's not peak Keith Langford, but he's pretty darn good.
I'm going right now. I will put up a Twitter poll. No one will know why we're doing it, but I will just put which was the better team? 1996-97 KU basketball. 2001, 2002. We will let the readers decide and see where this comes in.
And let's go through the losses real quick for 02. There's a fluke loss to Ball State.
Wait. I'm sorry. Did you say losses? Because I only talked about one loss with the 97 team.
A fluke loss to Ball State to start the season.
KU lost its first game that year?
Will you let me talk?
Okay, go ahead.
Will you let me talk? And then they lose at UCLA. I think that's the game where Barnes goes nuts. And then they don't lose again until the conference tournament. They lose to Oklahoma, who was a pretty damn good team. They had one of my favorite players of all time, Hollis Price. And so they lose in the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah,
but then they make the Final Four. I mean, the other team loses in the Sweet 16. I mean, they went 33-4 overall. Their offense was freaking incredible. I'm just saying it's a debate.
It's crazy that 96-97 played in the Maui Invitational too, just like the Ball State you were talking about in 02, and beat LSU by 29.
I was there. I was actually there.
Beat Cal by 18, beat Virginia by 17.
And without Jacques Vaughn, he wasn't playing.
And then KU played Oklahoma that same year. Your 2002 team lost to Oklahoma, and KU played them in '97. It was crazy. And they won.
Was
weird.
Hollis Price there in '97? Come on.
I'm just comparing across the lines here.
I'm just saying it's a debate worth having.
Okay, well, I will put it on Twitter, and we will see the debate and how close it is. And I'm going to wipe the floor with you. But, I mean, I feel good about this because it's not very often. Sometimes if we want to do a race, you would beat me. If we wanted to play one-on-one, you would beat me. This, I am going to demolish you. So I feel good about this.
I didn't even quite go there. I said it's a debate worth having. I mean, I'll give you 97. It's the number 2. Okay, so are we good on those top 3?
Yes. So who are you going for 4 and 5?
4, I'm gonna go. Man, it's so tough. I think 4. I'm gonna go 2011 Kansas.
You are so in love with Marcus Morris. This is ridiculous.
I am so in love with Marcus Morris.
This is ridiculous.
And
there's no way 2011 was better than 2010. You're wrong. Here, let me go back to this thing we call losses, CJ.
I actually
33 and 2.
There's somebody that I can't say it. I can't say it. But it's the 11 versus 10 is also a debate worth having.
Okay. All right. So
the 10 the pieces just fit together a little bit better in 11 than they did for 10. There's such thing as having too many players and having some chemistry issues. I don't think there was one chemistry issue in 11. They should have won the national championship in 11. 10, yeah, they probably should have won the title then too. But I think the mesh of 11 just went together a little bit better. But I will grant you 2010 as. Are you going to put that number 4?
I was going to say the chemistry issue was between the Morris twins and whoever they talked to pregame, especially the VCU players that didn't like it very much. So, was that the chemistry issue?
No, I'm talking about 2010. You had the Henrys there.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
And it wasn't even close to peak twins yet. And it was just there were a lot that was a tough year for Tyshawn, I think.
15-1 in the Big 12. Oof.
No, they were really. Well, what was 2011 in the Big 12, Jesse?
14 and 2.
14 and 2.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't lose in the non-conference. 10 did.
Yeah, at Tennessee. That was a tough game. But
yeah, that's a debate worth having.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Is there anybody else from Roy era or any other teams that?
03. I mean, it's really, really tough. I love the Rex Walters, Adonis Jordan, Roy team, but I would probably put. I think the 03 team there is like probably number 5. I mean, it's hard to just pick 5, but would you be in agreement? Maybe 03 is number 5.
I think. Yeah, I think those 3 teams are where you're looking at 4, 5, and 6. I think I would go. I would go 2010.
You're agreeing that the 11's involved there.
I would go 2010 4th. I would go. So what's tough is I think 2011 was more dominant during the regular season. I think 2003 found its way in the postseason. So it's difficult to split hairs there.
Because I love Nick Collison so much. I'm going to go ahead and put 03 number 5.
Wow, you love Nick Collison more than you love Marcus Morris. That is really saying something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love Nick Collison. It's unhealthy.
I think okay. Well, I'll go 2010, and yeah, I think I'll agree with you on that one. 2010, then 2003, then 2011.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Best burger place in Kansas City.
Give it to me.
I'm going to go Grandstand Burger in Merriam. Try it. Little hole in the wall. Delicious.
Nice. Have not been there. We'll have to try next time I'm up at KC.
Yeah, we'll have to eat it outside because the place is tiny. But 2 of my favorite restaurants that are tiny hole in the walls. I think I've already mentioned the other one on the pod before. Anita's is down the street. Delicious tacos. And Grandstand Burger. Good little stretch there in Merriam.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break, and right after that, we're going to wrap up the podcast.
SeatGeek is the easiest way to find the best deals on tickets to pretty much any live event. Concerts, sports, theater, comedy, whatever you want. Download the SeatGeek app today and enter promo code SEATS to save $20 on your first purchase.
All right, CJ, late night, a week away. Any final comments here before we move on with the podcast and get ready for the start of basketball season?
Oh, it'll be good to actually have basketball. And I'm trying to decide whether to come to late night or not. Do I come to late night, Jesse? I'm not sure if I'm going to be in town, but if I'm in town, do I come?
It's your call.
It's my call. It's tough. I might be there just so we can pod about it afterwards, maybe.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, and at least you know the location of it. At least you weren't thinking they were playing in Spain or Czechoslovakia or any of those places. You'll know the location for it. But there is a lot of excitement for this year for KU basketball, and a lot of it is just the fact that it is basketball, and this is the one program that basically every KU fan can look to and say, hey, it's time to be excited about this particular team, this particular coach, these particular players, and the expectations will be high once again for this KU basketball team. As high as always, don't you think, CJ?
Yeah, I mean, not as high as some years, but they should be high. They're preseason top 5. They've got Devontae Graham, senior point guard, and yeah, they should be high expectations. They always should be high for KU. But it's going to be a fun year, and it's just going to be fun to see how these kind of pieces fit together. It's going to be more of a puzzle for Self than some other years, but I think that makes it fun.
Yep, a lot of recruiting stuff happens at late night as well. So I would almost promise you next week, be tuning in. I know we've got some questions on here for Twitter for recruiting. Me and CJ are not the best ones to ask about that, so we will probably try to get someone on the podcast who is better equipped to talk about recruiting and what this day could mean for KU basketball in the years to come. For CJ, this is Jesse. Thanks for checking out the Sports Beat KC podcast. Be sure to tune in for another episode next week.